Well, hello, Canadian Campaholic here. It's December now, and the camping season is certainly well and truly over for just about everybody except maybe full-timers and folks that are hardcore campers. I figured that today, since it's kind of sunny out and fairly dry, this would be a good day to move our camper off of the laneway. We're actually going to park the camper on our lawn this year so that I have full access to get into the garage and the shop with my truck over the course of the winter months. So maybe if you want to walk over here, let's kind of show you what the plan is. So you can see the camper right now is on the driveway. It's actually plugged into power right now. My son and I have been working in the trailer, and occasionally we've come out and slept in the trailer, camp driveway, so to speak. But the plan is I'm going to hook it up to the truck, and I'm actually going to back the trailer up into this space here. I just have to be careful because this area here is very muddy. This was all grass during the summer, but not the greatest drainage. And as you can see, the dog running in and out. We have a Great Dane. She's chewed this lawn up a little bit. So I'm just going to have to be very careful. Going to back the trailer up so that it's basically parallel with the driveway. And let's go inside the shop and I'll show you what the plan is in terms of stopping it sinking into the mud. All right, let's head into the Canadian Campaholic shop and we'll show you what the game plan is here. Getting this area all cleaned up. That way we can park the truck in here over the course of the winter, but that of course means the camper can't be in the laneway. So that's the main reason that we're going to move it out of the way. We had considered maneuvering it across the lawn and down the side of the shop, but that would have been very difficult and would have risked chewing up the lawn even more. And then, of course, if we want to do some early season camping in April, once again, maneuvering it out of that space, it wouldn't be so much that we couldn't maneuver it. It's just anytime you're turning the wheels and maneuvering on grass that's soft with your truck, you're probably going to tear up the lawn. But where I'm going with this is that if you park your camper on concrete, on pavement, or even really well-drained gravel, then you really don't have to do much in terms of the tires other than covering them to stop them being damaged by ultraviolet light. However, if you're going to do like we are and park it on grass, you really shouldn't just have the tires sitting on the grass. Now, I don't know the exact science behind this, but from what I've been taught by other people is that frost from the ground and moisture can get up into the tire and actually cause damage. It can also cause flat spots on the tire and a bunch of other different things. So what I've done is taken a couple of wooden stands that my uncle put together, and I've basically broken some of them down to give me, in this case, a nice big board. This will be for one wheel to work with, nice and thick. And these might rot a little bit over the course of the winter and perish. That's okay, I'm not using them for anything else. And then we've got this other one here. That it's got some braces going across it. I'm actually going to leave these on because although it will sink into the mud a bit, or into the ground a little bit over the winter, it's going to just raise one part of the trailer up a little bit. I want it to be level during the winter months in case I got to get in and out of the trailer, so we'll use this on one side to level things up. Once the trailer's parked on the lawn, after that, we'll do the usual sort of prep for the winter. I'll take the propane tank off of it and store that safely. I'll remove the battery and put it on a smart charger over the course of the winter. I've already winterized the plumbing, which I've shown you in other videos. I'm not sure if I'm going to refresh the cloves and the mint. We don't really seem to have many mice here, so we'll see how that goes. Definitely going to have to replace the damp rid, or damp check, your preference, because I'm not taking the cushions and the mattresses out this year. This shop, although it's heated, does have a little bit of humidity, and I don't want any of that stuff getting moldy. So I think I'm just going to leave that stuff in the trailer with the damp check and just kind of keep an eye on it over the course of the winter. I used to store it in the basement at our old house. There isn't really room in the basement at this place to do that. So let's head outside, get the camper all ready to go and hooked up, and let's move it onto the lawn. All right, so as I said, the camper has been on the driveway for a while, and we've actually done some camp driveway in it since we couldn't afford to do actual camping. But the first thing I got to do is zip up the steadies, which leads me to just a quick tip. A lot of times when you buy these campers, they have like a quick wrench, like a little speed wrench that you put it onto the nut or the bracket for the corner steadies, and then you crank it up. If you go on Amazon for, I don't know, 10, 15 bucks, maybe a little bit less, you can buy this 19mm socket that has an attachment built into it to go onto your drill, and then you can zip those steadies up really fast. You often hear people doing this in the campground. Sometimes you can hear this god-awful noise. I think some of them are using like an impact gun or something like that. You got to be very gentle, folks, with those steadies. Some of them are more beefy. The ones that are on this camper, I won't say the country they're from in case I offend anybody, but they're pretty cheap. So this is a pretty low-powered 12-volt drill. It's not super, super strong, so I shouldn't break anything. But yeah, this definitely saves you some huffing and puffing. You know, when it's 40 degrees in the summer and there's mosquitoes everywhere and you're trying to raise or lower the corner stabilizers or steadies or whatever you want to call them, having this drill bit makes a big difference. So let's go outside and bring up those stabilizers. Okay, so I'm just going to open up our little storage compartment. Don't judge me, this is a little messy right now. But this is the little quick wrench, speed wrench, whatever you want to call it. Probably has a technical name that you can usually use. You stick this on the end of the stabilizer here, and then you start cranking like a crazy person. It takes a lot of effort. I would rather do it this way. So my thing is I can never remember which way to go. There we go. Sometimes I like to just snug it up the last little bit. I told you earlier that that's not a very powerful drill. So there we go. Just go around and do that on all the other corners. All right, let me get my hitch here. This is a Blue Ox Sway Pro. It weighs a goddamn ton. It's one of the best weight distribution anti-sway hitches on the market. So we're going to hook this up. Get that hole lined up in the hitch receiver there. And even though I'm only doing a small maneuver here in the laneway, always put your pin, your pin and then your cotter pin through it. Sometimes when my hands are freezing cold and it's hard to push this cotter pin in, I might get a little mallet and give it a whack just to make sure it's in, but that's good. I'm going to hook up the chains just so they stay out of the way. I'm not going to put the spring bars on it because I'm just maneuvering it in the yard. Obviously, if I was traveling, I'd hook everything up correctly. The other thing I just wanted to quickly point out, there have been a lot of thefts of trailers this year. I think as more and more people are unable to travel because of COVID, people are getting into camping, of course, and some people just can't afford trailers, so they're going around stealing them. So highly recommend, whether you store this in a storage lot, in your driveway, heck, even when you're at the campsite, get yourself a good trailer lock. This is an old Reese towing lock. There's a ball that goes up in the coupler, and then there's this bar that goes over the top. You know, if you had a hacksaw and some other tools, you could easily cut this off, but I think it tries to keep people honest, and it also deters them a little bit. So definitely have some sort of lock or device on your camper that's going to stop people trying to steal it, because there's a lot of that going on in North America lately. All right, so here's the game plan. You can kind of see the edge of this bed of whatever this is. I'm going to try and have the back wheels of the trailer. I'm going to pull the trailer forward and then very gently cut it in so the back wheel of the trailer is pretty close to that without, of course, hitting our deck. I'm going to be careful here where it's soft. Get the back of the trailer sort of clear and then straighten it up so that it runs along here. Another little tip about parking your trailer outside like this, keep the grass short. So I made sure that when it was still possible to cut the grass, I kept it fairly short. You don't want a lot of moisture or any weeds and things touching up underneath your camper. I would not recommend parking a motorhome over grass if you can help it, because with a motorhome, it's a vehicle with a lot more to do with brakes and fuel lines and brake lines and all kinds of other things that might corrode. With our camper, yes, there are things that could corrode, but most of the underbelly is sealed up and you don't have nearly as many components to worry about. But airflow is key. Our camper's nice and high. As you can see, the grass is nice and low, so shouldn't be an issue. Once I get the trailer almost exactly where I want it, then I'm going to figure out how I need to level it, get these boards under the back of each wheel, and back it up onto the boards. So our boy Gaming is going to keep a safe distance. And if you're not comfortable maneuvering trailers, I have probably the most popular video on my channel of how to back a trailer into a campsite. All of the principles I show you in there would help with a maneuver like this. Just keep it rolling, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Got it lined up with the bed. Now turning the wheel the other way so I can kind of chase it a little bit. Cut it in a bit more. Go nice and slow. Go back the other way to chase it. And if you screw up too much, just pull forward and try again. Also watching the ground, make sure I'm not bogging down. Try and take her back straight for a bit. Then I'll swing the nose of the camper around. Parallel with the driveway. So one of the biggest things I always preach when it comes to backing up is the good old goal acronym. Get out and look. So I'm at a stage now where I know I'm coming close to where I want to be. Getting out of the truck and actually looking at what's going on. So you can see we've still got a ways to go. So I'm going to start to try and swing the butt of the trailer towards the driveway, being very careful with the truck. And what I'm going to do is aim to get the back of the trailer somewhere around here. And you can either reverse it back up onto the blocks or take the butt of the trailer past where you want it to be and pull it forward onto the blocks. That would work in a campsite too. I just have to be mindful here that I don't have a lot of clearance at the front of the truck, and I don't want to be tearing up the lawn. So let's see how this goes. Also don't want to be crushing any wires or downspouts or any of that kind of stuff. All right, so if you take a quick look down the side of the trailer, I'm not, if you look down there, buddy, I'm not super parallel with the driveway. I'm getting a little anal about this. I guess it doesn't really matter that much. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to check the level. You can put bubble levels on the side of your camper. I've just got a little circular level that I keep in my storage compartment. And I can see that I need to come up. And if you're ever not sure how to make it more level, if you lift the side of the level, that corresponds to the side of the trailer that's got to come up, so you can see that side with the door needs to come up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the boards with the little braces on the door side, and then the piece of wood that's flat, I'll put it on the side where I'm standing right now. Now, if you follow me down the other side of the camper, buddy, go down that way. Again, it looks crooked. It's making my eyes twitch because I'm going to have to look at this thing all winter. Not really a big deal. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the camper back just another foot or so, being very careful with the back of the truck that I'm not hitting the deck. And I'm actually going to put the boards under the front of the wheels and pull the camper up onto the boards. I could go backwards, doesn't really matter. Kind of get the camper roughly where you want it positioned and then get it on the boards and really try to chock the wheels still so that when you you release everything, the trailer doesn't roll away. So, All right, so not exactly straight, not exactly level, but the camper's off the driveway. I only chewed up the lawn just a little bit, but that part of our lawn has bad drainage anyway and is always a bit of a quagmire, so a bit of a spring project. I'll probably buy some patio stones and dig up the turf there and change it to patio stones anyway. But the boards, this one wasn't really positioned well enough or long enough, so I shoved another piece in the front. It hasn't broken, it's just 2 sections, but again, it's just enough to keep it up off the ground. I've got the wheel chalked on the other side. I might throw some small plastic chalks in here. It's not super level, but we're not going to be using the fridge or, you know, properly camping in it for the rest of the winter. And the main goal of this was, of course, to get it set up for its long winter slumber and then to have the driveway clear so we can park the truck in the actual garage. So as I mentioned earlier, the only other steps I really have is to get some damp check or damp rid and put it inside the camper to absorb any moisture with the temperature changing. Humidity inside your camper is not such a big deal when it's really cold and the air is really dry, but when you start to get to those mild days where it's raining, then you run the risk of having a little bit of moisture inside and humidity, which is bad for, well, just about everything. So but I guess that'll do it for now. I hope you guys are enjoying your December, and we'll talk to you later.